Hello, friends, and welcome to San Jose Museum of Art's online celebration of Silicon Valley Pride. We are thrilled to be with you, even if we can't see you tonight. I'm Melanie, Director of Marketing and Communications. I'm joined by Frederick Lang, my colleague in marketing here at the museum. Tonight's event is co-presented with Silicon Valley Pride, with a special thanks to Saldi Sarabin, Chief Marketing Officer. Don't forget that Silicon Valley Pride's parade is in 2 weeks on Sunday, August 29th. We at SJMA celebrate Pride year-long and invite you to join us in person Friday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. The first Friday of every month, we are open until 8 p.m. or later. Admission from 6 to 8 to 9 p.m. is free. On Friday, September 3rd, the museum will be open late to celebrate the launch of Claire Rojas' Wayfinder, a public art project that encourages visitors to explore the heart of downtown San Jose. Commissioned by SJMA, 40 streetlight banners designed by Rojas in shades of pink, magenta, and lavender are installed along South Market and West San Carlos streets. This project is curated by Rory Padikin, curator here at SJMA. Tonight, our hosts, I'm thrilled to say, are Alpha Andromeda and her friend Jackie Layshun. We are joined tonight by artists Roxanna Romero-Vega and Maddie Heimgartner. Follow Roxana at Roxana Mew and follow Maddie at Fabulous Maddie.
Hello.
Hi.
Good as always to see you, Melanie. Thank you so much for having Jackie and I here.
Yeah, I haven't been here since Halloween last year, so it's really exciting for me to be back. I love the San Jose Museum of Art, and I love Pride Month, so thank you so much for having us here for this special event.
Thank you. And we do have a couple of slides for you to look at, just if you guys want to look at some works of art from our permanent collection and let us know what you're thinking. And remember, just be honest.
So.
Honest. Or drag queen that twice.
All right. I'm going to step aside and I'm just going to share my screen so you guys can feel free to say whatever you like.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see what's in store.
I know. Open these floodgates. Wow.
By the way, if you're watching right now, please say hi in the chat or even leave a yes, queen.
Yeah, whatever you can just key smash right now. I want to know you're here.
I mean, we're here. I'll go ahead.
But also, just as Melanie was saying, we are thrilled to be celebrating Silicon Valley Pride Month. Silicon Valley's weird. We celebrate in August instead of June like everyone else, but it's a fantastic chance to keep the party going all year and to remind people that Pride never ends. And we're super, super excited to be a huge part of the festival at the end of the month.
Yeah, so we are actually, for the first time, getting to host the main stage on Sunday of Silicon Valley Pride, which is a big deal because there have been other performers in the past who have hosted, but this is going to be our first time on that stage co-hosting together, and we're super duper excited. We're ready to bring the fun, and make it a memorable event for everyone in attendance.
Absolutely, and we're definitely committed to having it be a really safe, fun event. Obviously, every social distancing thought is already put in place, but we do want to bring the community together live while we can. If you're vaccinated, please join us. Yes?
Get vaccinated if you are not. I know that some people are a little hesitant, but I mean, I just got over COVID. I am vaccinated, so luckily my symptoms were very mild, but could have been a lot worse if I wasn't.
Yes. Speaking of symptoms.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I definitely used to eat these as a kid.
Uh-huh.
And I would eat way too many to the point where I'd get a sick stomach. And so looking at this, like I'm a little hungry, but also a little nauseous.
I know exactly what you mean. It's the sort of thing where you're like, well, there's an entire bag here. So
And you know, it's not going to be as good tomorrow as it is today.
absolutely not. But yeah, there's a weird nausea that's triggered by these cookies, and it looks like that may have either happened already here, or it's a watering hole situation.
One of them actually melted, and they're all around it saying their condolences.
Oh, last
Leaving
thought.
them in the sun. I'm looking at the details on this, and these are pretty big. It shows 32 inches by 96 inches by 48 inches. So 48 is 4 feet. Like, these are, if I was to go to a museum and see these, I would lick them.
Yeah. Those are some hungry, hungry hippos, and so am I.
So are we.
Oh my god.
Come on, Popeye.
Right?
So he's definitely a daddy. You know, and it's not often, no, it is pretty often I see semen on my screen.
Oh, goodbye. Goodbye. No, yeah, definitely the first thing I saw was that bicep. So you and I are thinking the same thing.
She works out, you know.
She does.
You know, it's interesting. It kind of looks like someone, like, it looks like it's from a coloring book and someone colored it with crayon, which I'm not mad at.
No, it's a nostalgic thing. Think of like your coloring book when you're a kid, you color in and like the piratey thing.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, you know, it looks like something I might do. I know you weren't able to color in the lines as a kid.
'Cause I'm different. I'm like, whatever gave you that inclination.
But yeah, this is definitely like a adventure, roaring on the ocean. I don't know what I'm saying.
Childhood nostalgia, that sort of fantasy, very what predated like Hook sort of situation.
Yes. And then that handlebar mustache she's got going on is something. That was a choice.
I mean, what other options you got out on the open sea?
True. I'm pretty sure I've seen him at Renegades before.
Lewis? Let's see what's next.
Oh. I feel like we've seen this one before.
I'm like, wasn't this the play that Daniel Radcliffe was in?
Equus?
Yeah.
This is actually the Old Spice commercial, but the unrated one.
Goodbye. This is, no, they just like cut the thing up here.
That's right.
This is the full zoom out.
When we were filming the commercial, he was fully naked. But
as mine.
As are we underneath, like from the chest down, we are completely naked at home right now.
Yeah, I am fully naked on a horse, so.
I'm the horse.
How long is this event?
No, it's very, very well done. Like the shading, the shadow, like this is oil on canvas. So this is all painted, not a photograph whatsoever. The shading, the shadows is done amazingly. Like that looks like a realistic horse.
Like the hyper realistic effect on like that horse thigh. Look at that thigh. Look at the muscle, the sinew.
That looks like my thigh when I don't wear enough pairs of tights, and you can see my padding poking through the side. But no, this is a huge piece, 96 by 116 inches. So like you and I can both lay on top of this. We wouldn't. We can both lay on top of this, and there still be plenty of room. You can probably fit half of San Jose's drag scene on this canvas. Comfortably.
Just
maybe not comfortably, because we can smell each other. But no, this is a great piece, and I would spend several long minutes staring at this in the museum.
Yeah, you're just zooming in. Just zooming.
No, I'm literally zooming in right now on my computer. All right. Shall we see what we have next?
Yes.
Ooh. This is like EDC. Well, it looks a little bit like EDC, and that's like the DJ in the front.
I was fully thinking that. I'm like, Wasn't this that one circuit party that just got shut down in San Francisco the other week?
Ooh. You know what else is giving me? I see I know these are little knobs up at the back, on the background, but because of the shadows that they painted on them, it almost looks like they're a bunch of asteroids that are all coming in to I don't know, take care of this godlike thing that's there. He's like, what the hell, man?
Or coming to attack, because the piece is called induced epidemic. That could be being induced.
It could be. I don't know what's going on. This is really interesting, and I can see myself taking something and staring at this for a while.
Again, zoom in.
It's very psychedelic.
Yeah. It's like the you fully have that Ferris Bueller's Day Off moment with it. Closer.
And I love the variety of textures in here. You have all the lines going across, then the purples, and you have all the squiggles right above that. And
this
then
is exactly what I say about your face.
I mean, can you guys see the resemblance?
Lines, squiggles, textures. Ooh.
I mean, and my eye makeup was basically the same color scheme as this entire piece. So
there you have it.
No, I love this. And I would hang this in my room or in my living room.
It's a cool color scheme.
Yes. Melanie, how do we purchase this?
I'll take 2. Let's see what's next. It's us.
It's us. You're on the left and I'm on the right, right? Because you got the skinny legs.
Exactly.
And it's appropriately titled Beauty Bot. I think that these are targeted. No, it's giving me C-3PO on the left, and on the right is the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz, except with red eyes, he's evil.
And is there a little Toto on the bottom?
That looks like a little Toto.
A little Toto.
So he literally stole Toto from Dorothy. And then he went and he hooked up with C-3PO, and now they're a happy queer couple with a dog. Because C-3PO was gay.
Well, duh. We all know this. And I know Melanie's cringing because she's a huge Star Wars fan. Melanie's like, how dare you?
No, she's back there. She's like, it's canon. She says she agrees.
I love. But apparently this lights up also. It's aluminum with light.
I haven't been to the museum in several years. I need to go and see this stuff.
Obviously. And we can, because the museum's open.
Right, on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right?
Yes, open weekends. We gotta go.
All right. What do we have next?
Oh,
for a second I thought it was a flower, and then I saw the face. This is giving me high key glitching, similar to half the videos that you put out during the pandemic.
Yes, that was the aesthetic, but also very much my entire weekend mood. I am in this position 25/8. That's how I sleep.
This is me literally after a show, getting home and taking off all most of my makeup. Some of their makeup is still on, but taking off all the pads, the tights, the costumes, the shoes, the wig, still having a full face of makeup on, and laying down naked in my bed, exhausted.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even get home. That's just you in the back of the bar.
That's woo-woo. No, this is trippy as hell, and I am loving this. I'm assuming I probably shouldn't assume their gender. They look like they are either have in pleasure or in grave discomfort. I can't tell.
Either way, one thing I actually really like about this is that glitch effect. You're right. It's it looks like it could be moving, like it's just this freeze frame someone took on a laptop, you know? It's really well done, and then there's really cool colors going on with that.
And you know what else I'm noticing? I'm seeing like little figures of people in there too.
I didn't even see them. Wow.
I just noticed, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is like they're taking down a giant.
Deployment in Wonderland. They're deployed all over her. She just is like,
we are so dumb.
Or brilliant.
The world may never know. If you think that we're brilliant, please tell us so in the comments right now.
I need to know.
But yeah, otherwise, no, this is another piece that I am enjoying looking at. And yeah, I would hang this in my bathroom so I have something beautiful to look at when I'm on the throne. So I'm a queen.
Wow.
All right. What do we have next in our slideshow? Or is that the end of it?
Oh.
That is full on Alpha Andromeda.
It is.
Showing up at the gig.
Late as usual. 2 seconds before I have to hit the stage, like, DJ, hit it. And I walk with my tiny purse.
That literally, she had a tiny purse. On Tuesday, we hosted the Pride Night at the Earthquakes game. And Alpha literally walked around with a purse that was about this big.
Yeah.
Like not even as big as my face. That is literally Alpha Andromeda.
I use that purse for most things, honestly.
I just the essentials. You gotta have your credit card, your ID, some cash, and some poppers. So
you looked inside.
Yeah. And then of course your phone is in your hand the whole time.
100%, yes.
This is kind of neat. It is a pipe cleaner doll with painted face on shell. You know, the mediums that these artists decide to paint in astounds me. Like, I would never think to do this. I mean, I guess because I'm used to painting on my own face all the time, but it's just kind of cool.
I know, interesting.
All right. I think that we only have one more. Yes. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Hopefully it's the best for last.
Oh, I love this piece.
Have you seen it in person?
I've seen it in person. So this is just like 3D projection, and it is called Rose Breathing, and it does just that. It like sort of blooms and moves really beautifully.
Oh.
It's a really, really cool projection. It's really gorgeous to see in person because it does move beautifully, and seeing it because they have it in like a dark space in the museum, and so it just glows. It's gorgeous.
Okay. I wish that it was actually moving now so we can see it, but I guess it's encouraging everyone watching to actually go to the museum and check it out in person.
Yes, very.
No, I mean, I can imagine the movement of it, just like in just the design right now, and like the colors and shading is like beautiful. And I want a headpiece like that. I want to wear that on my head for a look, for a performance, for something. Maybe like one on each side of my chest, just big old flowers.
I have the flowers for you. You know I have like stockpile of props.
Okay, well I know where you sleep, so I'm coming over after this.
Oh, I'm uncomfortable.
This is pretty cool. Apparently there's sound that goes with it too.
Ooh, I don't remember sound.
Well, it says 3D computer animation, stereo sound, projector, 34-second continuous loop. But no, I would love to check this out. This is absolutely beautiful. And Fred says, get inspired for your next look at SJMA.
Very that.
You know, maybe we should show up in drag sometime.
Just to hang out.
Just to hang out.
Just to walk. All right. Well, this has been so much fun. Just honest opinions about the SJMA permanent collection pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But we also have some very special guests here, and I'm very, very excited to introduce to your screen Roxanna Romero.
Ooh, welcome, Roxana.
Hey, thank you.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm glad that I got to see the collection up. I haven't gotten a chance to go to the museum lately.
Neither have I. And, we've been in a pandemic. So, I mean, now that, things are open, it's a little bit more safe, we should all plan a trip to go together. I think it'll be really fun.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
So cute. But I understand you have a small presentation for us about your art, what you do.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to learn.
I do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I essentially have just been painting and drawing since I was a kid, and started taking it seriously like a few years back. And by that, I just mean putting a lot more pressure on it to be wonderful. And yeah, I've just been fascinated by everybody in San Jose. I'm born and raised from here, but moved out to Oregon and then came back and have trying to like establish myself within the art community, and it's just amazing. It's a pleasure to be here.
I've been involved in the art community here for a while too, and let me just say, like, the artists here are such kind people, and everyone here is so supportive of each other. And I'm glad that our city really recognizes like the importance of art, specifically with like the SOFA district.
Mm-hmm.
It's such an amazing thing, and I am here for it.
Yeah, I'm amazed that there are actually so many resources for like queer and people of color in the art field. It's not everywhere that happens.
Right. No, it's something that we are very privileged to have here in San Jose and the Bay Area in general. And I'm glad that we all have experienced that together.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So you, as Alpha said, you have a presentation to show us?
Yeah, I think Melanie might be pulling it up, I think. Let me see if I can.
There we go.
Yes. Okay, she's got it under control.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mute myself so you can take over and kind of talk about your art and your presentation. And then we'll get back on and ask a couple questions when you're done.
Awesome. All right. So this, all right, if it's going to stay on this one. So a little while back, I started to get super into like, I know there's controversial stuff about like Inktober now because copyright issues and stuff like that. But that was one of the things that really sort of started propelling me into sort of disciplining myself in terms of actively doing art every day. Exhausting, and sustained a hand injury from doing it too much. But I felt like that was sort of the moment that I started really seeing big strides in my progress as an artist. And a lot of the stuff that I was doing with like all my line work, like I have a whole little series of strictly just, they're not interconnected lines, but it's essentially just lines and not really anything else. And that was sort of when I started realizing how much it ties in together with like sculpting. I don't do a lot of ceramics, but it's just a way to like carve out different things from something that would otherwise be pretty flat. And so I started doing just weird things. This is one example of that. A recreation of a drawing I did a long time ago for a friend of mine. Just over the years, it's progressed into something that I don't even know what it is. Just a person there, I guess. And yeah, it looks like, so these are some more of the line carving out sort of situations that I was talking about. I would just start with like, because a lot of it was trying to figure out what to do to where it like I could actually finish it within a day. And that was a bit of a challenge, considering some artwork that I'll show you all later, because I really hone in on the little details. That's my favorite part of it. But this was sort of a way to create it, not like a landscape, but it does sort of remind me of just a landscape on something that would otherwise be pretty plain. Originally it was just like a pencil drawing, and then once I think there's something called like Zen Doodle, which I took inspiration from. It's essentially just mindless doodling, and it is super stress relieving. But yeah, you just get some really amazing images. I would recommend anybody to look that up, because you don't have to have any specific amount of skill level for it. It's just a great thing to do. Yeah, those are the examples of more line work. Yeah, it was just a whole little series for a while. Fun times. Hours and hours of work. And then if we go up a little bit, I could talk about these specifically. So I titled this series Solitude and Longitude. A lot of it has to do with my personal life. Specifically, it's small, insignificant moments that my mind was working really well at the time. This was before the pandemic, and I was able to just like, my favorite thing in the world is just going to coffee shops and drawing there. And my mind was just firing on all cylinders, I guess. I feel like I was like in another world compared to a lot of other people. And a lot of my inspirations come from like really creepy sort of stuff. Like I remember the books, like when I was a kid, for some reason there was like that book where the girl had a scarf wrapped around her. Like there was just really creepy stories, and eventually like just, I won't spoil it, but so I really just wanted to sort of, I had my nephew in mind, and he's really into creepy things, and so I have these ideas of like making really creepy kid-friendly stories, because I don't see a lot of that anymore, and I love them. This I sort of took inspiration from like Courage the Cowardly Dog, and a friend of mine brought to my attention that Robert Crumb does a lot of like insect related drawings, and I got really fascinated with his work. And it was fun. That one was one of the ones where I started mixing in like watercolors and just trying to get like the feeling that you could walk into the image and sort of like walk around the rest of the house was sort of what I was trying to go for. That one's my favorite one for sure. There's like this, I'm just gonna mention every single person that inspires me. There's this YouTuber by the name of Chris Hong, and another one by the name of Will Terry, that sort of, now apart from just showing their process online, it's essentially, I'm somewhat just self-taught, so I just pretty much learn from everybody around me, YouTube, anything. And some of the challenges set forth were to try to include like at least 50 items in your drawing, and that makes it sort of feel really lived in. And so with even the past ones that we were looking at, that's what I was aiming for, was okay, let's make this feel like it's actually something that exists. And the only thing I can say about this one was I didn't know that pens came in that small of a point. No, there we go. This honestly reminds me of a friend I used to have. And I think this one, it's not too, I'm not too sentimental about it, but it was, I think it was a prompt about like some sort of werewolf. And I realized that I don't really see a lot of depictions of female werewolves for some reason. And I was like, okay, let me do that. And I feel like I took a little bit of inspiration from anime, which were my beginnings, with just the main character's eyes, for sure. This one This one turned out to be my nephew's favorite, so I'm really fond of it. I think it was during the time when I was starting to watch Stranger Things, and literally the only part of this that reflects that is the fact that somebody's wearing a Converse shoe, which isn't much, but yeah, I don't even remember what the prompt was, but I was just imagining that somebody could have like withered away besides their face, and the rest of it is history. Oh, that one. A lot of what I learned during the process of making all of these was that you could tweak and tweak and tweak something until you get to a point where like it's something that you actually like. So this originally just started out really, really differently, and it sort of just started morphing into somebody else and something else. And somebody had mentioned to me that having sort of like a horizon line that isn't parallel to the page or something like that is very unsettling. And so I just kind of wanted to run with that idea. That one was probably the most lines I've ever had in a drawing. I deviated a little bit from the style that I was going for in the past few, and this I think was still part of the whole Inktober series, and I wanted to just cover as much of the page as I possibly could, and I definitely did that. So with a lot of these, I think like in an ideal world, I would be able to sort of make a little story that goes along with it. And this one, I just really wanted to leave it up in the air for whoever's looking at it to sort of come to their own conclusions about it. I just wanted it to have like a really old timey feel to it, and just be really, really moody, which I think I achieved it. I hope.
No, I love the sense of storytelling that's really like you can see an entire different story for everything here. And there's this sort of sense of like claustrophobia and everything because it's just this intense little vignette that you really packed with so much. And even hearing you talk about like your line work and everything, and you see every single line really contributes to all the shadows in it and everything. It's really haunting and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
How big are most of these pieces?
These are actually pretty small. I think it's like 4x4.
Oh damn.
Dude, the pens. They're I think one of them was like 0.1 millimeters. They're tiny. I didn't even know they existed.
I mean, kudos to you though for having the patience to like sit there and do each individual line and whatnot. Like after 10 minutes of drawing, I'm just like, okay, I'm done. Bye. It's my ADHD.
Thank you so much. Yeah, honestly, if people saw me, they would think I was insane.
Do you usually finish one of these in one sitting, or is it something you do? No, okay.
Oh no, some of these I tried really hard. It was like over 5 hours a day because I was still trying to adhere to like one drawing each day of October. But no, by the time that I was doing like the more complicated ones, I was like, no, my arm is gonna fall off.
Either way, I still like hearing about how organic your process is. One of those things where you're just like, I started with this and kind of turned into this. Sometimes just letting it kind of flow is the best thing ever. And it really shows.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first lessons I ever got, like when I actually went to school or whatever. I had a pretty good teacher, and I started out just with a doodle, and she was like, okay, we'll expand on this. And I was like, oh, I didn't even cross my mind. It was just going to be a doodle that I just stored away in a binder, never to see the light of day again.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so glad we were able to have you here to talk about your work and learn a little bit more about you. Where can we find more of you?
Yeah, thank you. So pretty much just on Instagram and my website specifically, my name on there is hard to pronounce, but it's Roxana. If anybody's ever watched The Mummy and they ever heard Anoxanamu, I was like, yeah, that could be me. Yeah, so all over Instagram, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well,
Before we say anything, do you sell prints of these works?
I can.
You can. Okay. And is the best way to get them through your website or DMing you on Instagram, or how?
Yeah, DMing me on Instagram or also on my website. It's roxanna@wix.com. And if you message me through there, I'll also be able to do it through there. I usually just do PayPal.
Okay, right on. I'm definitely going to be hitting you up because that like spooky aesthetic is definitely very me, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
And so, no, I would love to have, more work by local artists. In my bedroom wall, right, I'm not going to show you all right now, but I have like 15 different like local artists, most of them queer, pieces of work on my bedroom wall. And I'm just like in love with supporting the arts of other queer people. So I will be hitting you up later this week or this weekend.
Thank you all so much.
All right. Shall we segue into our next artist feature?
Yeah, this next artist is actually a friend of mine that I've known for several years now. His work is very abstract and just very colorful, and he's such a nice person. Let's welcome Maddie Hendricker.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. This has been so entertaining so far. Like watching you two bounce off each other for the permanent collection, I was just like, it's kind of like dinner and a show. Like I was enjoying the art, but I was also really into your guys' commentary.
Well, thank you. We spend way too much time together as it is. So we're kind of like, our brains have kind of connected, unfortunately.
Literally, like San Jose Museum of Art is just like, they just said, oh, talk. And you want us to just talk? Because we can do that.
All right. So you have a presentation you put together as well with your art as well, right?
Correct.
Do you want to go ahead and talk a little bit about your art, show off the presentation, and then we can make some commentary and ask some questions while we go?
Perfect.
All right.
Cool. So, like you said, my name is Maddie Heimgartner. I got my BA in art from San Jose State in 2018, and I'm getting my MFA in creative writing right now. I'm affiliated with Collide Gallery, which is over on First Street, which is a fabulous gallery. If you guys haven't been there, I know you two have, but like those of you watching, if you haven't been there, you should really check it out because there are so many amazing artists that are local, and it'd just be a shame to not see that. And then I'm also affiliated with Read Magazine. I'm the art editor and design director. So if there are any artists watching, I'm just going to plug this real quick. Definitely send your art in because I want to publish more local art, with the oldest literary journal in California. So now that the technical stuff is out of the way, we'll get on to the fun stuff. My first show out of college is Things Unsaid. And the piece on the left is the actual title piece. And each individual bottle or glass has like a saying inside of it. And it's essentially what I picture the characters to be suppressing as they drink. When I started creating the show, it was right when I gave up drinking in 2017. And it was like just a night and day switch. So literally like the day I quit drinking, I just became obsessed with painting. And I kind of traded the bottle for a paintbrush. And that was like my own new obsession. And I, think it worked out kind of well. And so once the show was hanging, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a little break, like, just step away and blah, blah, blah. And then we had the opening night and there was just so much energy from the people there. And I was just like, I don't need a break. So I started a 100-day challenge, which is kind of like Inktober, except it was 100 days. And it was also on Instagram. It was hard. I finished 100 days in 102 days. So there were 2 days that, art didn't happen. In the beginning, it was 1 piece per day. And I was working full time at the time at Jamba Juice. And so I would and I was like obsessed with having natural lighting. So I had to finish it like before 7 p.m. whenever the sun goes down. It was so ridiculous, but it really helped me develop my skills. And so that could segue into the next slide. So I started this series, the Bella series, during that 100-day challenge that I was talking about. The man on the left, Bella Boy, or sorry, the right, was not made during that time, but the other two were. And so the reason I kind of started these was because my grandma went to the show that I mentioned before, and she was like, I love your work and you're so talented and blah, 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 but your work is so dark, like conceptually, that I don't want to hang that on my wall. Can you make something pretty? And so like being the stubborn tourist that I am, I was like, well, I'm going to, draw these beautiful magazine editorial people. But to me, the flowers represent the mental illnesses that people, no matter what you look like on the outside, have carrying around, and with mental illnesses, it's not always your entire life. Sometimes we have it temporarily where it's like this big burden on us. And, we look in the mirror and we see it in our eyes, but people outside just see the beauty in us. And so that's what these represent to me, but don't tell my grandma. And so that could segue to the next slide. Cool. So this was a show that I had in San Francisco at Castro Country Club. It went up in March of 2020. So right before the pandemic, right before the pandemic. We didn't even have the reception for it. But as far as like a body of work, I was super proud, I still am, of this series. Because what it kind of is like an extension of Things Unsaid, which was 21 pieces about alcoholism specifically. But as I did, some self-healing and some work on getting over that part of my life, I wanted to also work on the different parts of my life that affected me in ways that I needed to heal the child within me. So on the right side, it's called Skinny, the woman, and then all of the icons behind her, the different pieces. And so what I did was I thought of my adolescent eating disorder, and I just kind of channeled, 16-year-old Maddie and what I felt at the time and what I was thinking. And the writing behind is just a stream of conscious. I just kept writing. The only time I stopped writing was to turn the paper to, fit in between different pieces. But that is all just about what I felt, what I thought, what I worried about, what I thought other people were thinking. And, the mouth is there because food, there were times when I would eat the food and then it would no longer be in my stomach. And the skeleton represent, kind of fading away when you're just getting skinnier and skinnier. And then on the left side is party and play, which is, in short, a term where you have drugs and have sex with random people. And so I wanted to represent that part of my life in a painting as well. And I feel like the eyes and all the hands and the tongue just, reaching for this character who's afraid and just kind of not aware. I think that really represented that well. And then the one in the center, which is Piece by Piece, the title piece for the show, the purple and tan things are puzzle pieces that are fitting into this character's face. And the reason why I chose purple is because it's the complementary color of yellow, which is the opposite of it. And so it doesn't fit into the background at all. And so it's saying that this character really doesn't fit into her surroundings. And the skin color is different than her face skin color because the pieces, although they are starting to become who she is, they're not quite there. So they need to change and completely evolve before they make her feel like her whole self. I think that's a good part for the next slide. Oh, cool. So this is the tree of life. And so, as I said, the piece by piece was, right before the pandemic. And this was a project that I was so lucky to have during the pandemic, because I was able to be away from everyone. I didn't have to, really see anyone, except I worked with Gabrielle, who stood far away, masked. She's a doll. But so yeah, Local Color, which is a fabulous organization here in San Jose, and Silicon Valley Pride got together for me to do this. It's actually 3 walls around a dumpster. So this picture, I only put one up there, just aesthetically. And also I kind of want you guys all, everyone watching, to go see it. Like it's right there on the Alameda. Go look at the mural, check out well, actually, I don't know if the DeFrank Center is open yet. But when it is, you should check it out. But with this painting, I really wanted this to be bigger than myself. When I was planning it out, I really wanted to make sure that this wasn't like, oh, this is Maddie's. I know it says my, hashtag or whatever handle there, but like as my signature, but as far as like the concept of the painting, I really wanted it to be about the community. And so the tree of life represents us as we all come from Earth, but also being during the pandemic, which is a respiratory illness. And the way you get oxygen is through trees. So I wanted to speak to that as well. And then all the butterflies are the different flags in the LGBTQIA plus flag. And so they're around the 3 walls, they're all kind of scattered around. And I made sure to do my research so I could get as many in there as I could, because there were a couple flags that I, didn't know. And so it was really cool to learn that while I was creating this piece. And I'm grateful to that and for the community center, because at different chapters of my life, it has been really important to me, as well as other people in the community. So from there, we could go on to the next slide. And so what I did take from that painting from the Tree of Life was that everything didn't have to be so deep. There is depth to, what I just explained, but it was also something to be beautiful for the community to see, and like the neighbors that walk their dogs by it and everything. And I wanted to kind of channel the visual aesthetic of a painting. And so some of these are less about these like really dark backstories that the first few series were. And I think that also goes along with the fact that through art, I began healing, and so I didn't want to get stuck on painting about alcoholism all the time, because yeah, it's like a disease and I'll have it forever or whatever, but like, I don't want that to be the one thing that I'm focusing my life on. You know what I mean? Like I had to get that out of my system at the time, and I moved on and I started working on different things. So Solar Flower right in the center is basically just about how we all come from stardust, And then Daydreaming on the left is just a really beautiful woman. I realized I didn't have as much rainbow. Of course, everything I do is queer because I'm queer. But I didn't have any like blatant, rainbow iconography or like, just like very easily recognizable queer things. And while I was painting it, I kept singing the Khalees song. So I was like, okay, this is definitely Khalees. And then on the right-hand side is Original Doll, which was a 2018 painting that I like totally redid a couple months ago, and I just think she's so badass. I think there's one more slide that we could go to. Oh yeah. So boys, I created that during the pandemic as well. This one I actually didn't create as a series intentionally. I kind of just started working with my watercolor. Oh, what happened was my studio came down during the very beginning of the pandemic, and so I just didn't have a studio, so I had minimal art supplies accessible in my bedroom. And so I was like, okay, I'll do these little drawings, like 8 by 10 of watercolor and ink. And, you know, a couple of weeks or whatever passed, and all of a sudden I just had an entire series of the spectrum of boys. And I was hesitant to name it boys just because of like all the gender discussion. But then I kind of came around to that being more of a reason to name it boys, because boys don't have to be, you know, Tonka truck loving, mud splashing, you know, I mean, that kind of boy. Because like I'm quite feminine, but I identify as he, him. Like I am a boy. And so I wanted to kind of put that part of myself into the art. And I also wanted to broaden that conversation to everyone that I can. And so I think there's one more actually. Cool. And so this one is called Make Your Wish. And so this one's really big. It's like 2 foot by 3 foot. And there's like 3 or 4 paintings under this. Like I just kept going, not liking it, like painting over it and then starting over. And so this one has obituaries Maj Podged on top of it. So you can see it kind of at the top mostly. And then I did the 2 characters. One is me on the left. It's a very abstract version of me. I know it doesn't look like me, but it's spiritually me with the nose missing to kind of channel the moment in my life when I did a lot of drugs nasally. And I wanted to represent that chapter of my life. And then on the right-hand side, that's my grandfather. While he was, you know, kind of withering away with Alzheimer's late in his life. And so I wanted to do a quick 2-minute reading of my essay, which is, it's a memoir essay that's going to be published in a queer literary journal called Thanks Hun. If you follow me on Instagram, I'll post about it. It's coming out next month. But it's essentially just about the studio that came down and me rediscovering my grandfather through that process. I had made sure that everything in my life was temporary and disposable. My job, my car, my home, my pride, just in case he changed his mind and wanted me to move to Indiana with him. After his first 6 months there, including my visit to see him for Thanksgiving and his visit to see me for New Year's Eve, he didn't ask me to move in with him. Sometime around Valentine's Day, I realized he wasn't going to ask. He was busy studying for his master's degree, and I was busy waiting. After 2 more months, we called it quits. Our 5 good, great even, years could not stand up to one bad one. Once I realized I wasn't moving to Indiana, the disposability of my life shined in a whole new light. I grew insecure with the lack of permanence in my life. I began to feel uncontrollable symptoms of my clinical depression, something I was usually able to manage by using tools that I had learned from various doctors. I had been here before. When I was 19, I suffered a depressive episode. Before I found the tools to help myself, I found Band-Aids in glass bottles and small baggies from strangers in shadow-casted late-night transactions. As scared, alone, and hurt as I felt from the breakup, I knew I wanted a different outcome. I decided that very night to get sober, a move I had been hesitantly dreaming about for years. Within a week, I quit my barely above minimum wage food service job. Before I finished out my 2 weeks, I had an interview for a position as a part-time art teacher at a highly acclaimed private art studio. I landed the job, and my roots began to grow firmly into my home city again. Cool, and that concludes my presentation.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Maddie. That was lovely. And I do love how much your work is really reflective of a lot of common queer experiences, dealing with body image issues, with addiction, touches on a lot of things that really plague our community.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you know, the pieces about mental health kind of resonate with me as well. I went through a really bad time in my life a few years ago, and you know, leading up to the pandemic was kind of really struggling with my mental health. And it's always kind of a struggle, you know, especially during the pandemic. You know, luckily I'm at that point where I kind of have things in check, but it's still like it kind of reflects life. Like, you know, on the outside I look freaking gorgeous. I mean, look at me. But, you know, sometimes on the inside, it's like we're really struggling. And so I appreciate that you were able to capture that in your artwork without it being just like something that's, you know, not pretty to look at.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Do you feel like the pandemic helped your mental health? Because you said it was right before, right? Did it help you heal or did it make it worse?
There are some of both. Some of both, and you know, a lot of it was being able to, I guess, going in like right before the pandemic, I was kind of getting better, and then during the pandemic, I had my bubble of friends. I had that time to kind of work on myself, and you know, in the last several months, I actually started you know, medications, and so I'm in a lot better place than I used to be, and I think, you know, the pandemic didn't hurt too much, but it also, I wouldn't blame the pandemic on me being better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of one of those things in the background that's like, oh, we're going to remind you that there's trauma that, you know, I'll probably end up dealing with it a few years down the line. We'll say that.
That should be fun.
Exactly. So people, I know that I own a print of things left unsaid. Where can people go to get prints of your work?
Yeah, good question. So I do direct message through Instagram, or my email is Heimgartner art. So it's my first initial, my last name, and art at Gmail. But it's also linked to my Instagram, so you can just, you know, click the email button. Yeah, I don't. The reason why, because I was going to do it through my website. But when I do art fairs, which I have one coming up September 3rd, the first Friday in Stofa. But yeah, every time I sell something there, and then I would have to like update the website. Maybe that's just me being like lazy. I don't know.
It's just a pain in the ass. We get it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so great to actually hear you talk about your work, because I've seen a lot of you, you know, both online and in person. So it's kind of great to get like the story behind each of them.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and it was really nice to be here.
Awesome. So we will see you later, Maddie. Thank you so much.
Bye.
And I think that concludes our show for the evening.
Yeah, I really loved getting to learn more about Roxana and Maddie, and just be honest about some of the art of the San Jose Museum of Art's collection. And of course, to continually encourage you to go to the San Jose Museum of Art. They're open on the weekends and operating safely, of course. So yeah, they're a wonderful, wonderful local institution. And I love that they are so supportive of everything to do with Silicon Valley Pride.
Speaking of which, if you weren't here in the beginning, or you forgot, or you need a reminder, Silicon Valley Pride is happening not this weekend, but next weekend at Cesar Chavez Park. So right outside of the San Jose Museum of Art. It'll be a really fun event, and you will catch both Alpha and myself co-hosting the main stage on Sunday. So if you thought we were funny then, or today, just imagine how funny we're going to be on Sunday when it's a big old Pride event. We're on stage live. We're probably going to trip and fall a couple of times and make fun of each other.
Exactly. We have legs, I promise.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching tonight. And thank you, Janelle, for engaging with us. And we hope to see you all soon. Come out to a brunch event, a Pride event, some art museums, and the First Fridays art show downtown on First Street on September 3rd.
Yes. And thank you again to San Jose Museum of Art for having us. It is always an absolute pleasure to work with you.
100%. Bye, y'all.
Bye.